Good morning, students. I am Dr. Tripti Gupta from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota. I hope you all must be well with your families. Today we are taking up chapter 1 from Hornbill, The Portrait of the Lady, written by Khushwant Singh. As the title of the chapter says, the portrait, and here the portrait is a pen sketch created by Dr. Khushwant Singh about a beautiful lady, that is his grandmother. He has described his relations with his grandmother very beautifully in this chapter. Singh was the only child at that time when his parents left him in the village and they went to city under the care of his grandmother. His grandfather was no more at that time, and a picture of his grandfather was hung on the wall. He appeared too old and to have only lots and lots of grandchildren. His grandmother would nurture him, get him ready, take him to school along with her. The school was attached with a temple in the village. All the children sat in the veranda reciting alphabets while his grandmother is engaged reading holy scriptures. Finally, in the evening, the author and his grandmother would walk back home feeding the dogs on the way. This was their daily routine, and the author had a very strong, beautiful, friendly relationship with his grandmother during this early childhood period of his life. After some years, he and his grandmother were shifted to city with his parents, and then he had to adopt a new life in the city. This itself was a turning point in the relationship of the grandmother and the grandson. The author went to an English medium school, but the grandmother never liked the way he was taught, as he was studying different subjects like science, maths, which were not being accepted by his grandmother. Though Singh and his grandmother shared the same room, she was unable to help him in his studies. Apart from this, she was also disappointed that he was learning music, as she considered it unworthy for gentlefolks. Because of the conservative ideas in those olden times, people did not consider music to be a thing which should be learned by people from good families. In due course, Singh he grown up and he went to university, and because of that now he was being given a separate room. Now with this they stopped sharing the room further, and this indeed made the common link of their relationship snapped down completely. Now this situation was a difficult situation for grandmother. She resigned to the situation, she accepted it, and used to spin the wheel, and from sunrise till sunset used to pray a lot to compensate that. Only during the afternoon she enjoyed a small session of feeding the sparrows with little pieces of bread. They were her best friends, and the sparrows also liked her company. Later on, Singh went abroad for higher studies for 5 years. He was doubtful as well as sad about whether his grandmother would survive or not until he comes back. He also thought that it might be the last physical contact between them, and probably he is seeing her for the last time when she came to airport to see him off for his departure. After 5 years, he came back. Incredibly, he was welcomed by his grandmother, who was not grown a single day older. That means she seems to be as same as he left her 5 years back. Singh noticed that even at this time when everyone is joyful about his return, his grandmother's happiest moment was feeding session with her sparrows. Later in the evening, there was a change in her routine. She stopped her prayer, which she never used to do. She celebrated the return of her grandson as if the warriors come back after winning the battles. She invited some women from neighborhood by singing songs and beating drums for several hours. They kept on celebrating that event. But next morning, because of the previous night's stress, grandmother's health deteriorated. She developed a mild fever, the doctor was called, and finally she was given a medication. But she realized and revealed that she was nearing her end and her death is approaching very soon. So now she decided not to waste a single moment in talking, and she kept on praying. By afternoon, quite suddenly, the rosary fell from her hand and she took her last breath. Finally, she was no more. After making the preparations for the funeral, the family members went to fetch her body for the final destination, for the final journey. The golden blaze of the light rays of the setting sun glittered her body and room. This scene was a beautiful scene to be looked upon. And there was a surprising thing which happened at that time, that to pay the last homage to the grandmother, thousands of sparrows gathered in and around her room. The sparrows did not chirp at all, as if been paying their tribute to the departing soul who used to feed them. They didn't even bother for bread pieces thrown by author's mother to feed them. The sparrows flew away as the grandmother's body was taken away for further proceedings of her funeral. With this, the story ends, which describes the beautiful journey of the relationship between a grandson and a grandmother. Thank you for attending the session. Goodbye.